Hi, my name is LIZA WOLFF-FRANCIS, and I am a poet living in North Carolina. And I am doing this 10 for 10 video in support of Resources for Resilience. That's resourcesforresilience.com. And I hope you'll donate $10 or more to hear my poetry and just to support the communities of Western North Carolina. Resources for Resilience provides mental health services for the people of Western North Carolina, and especially they provide listening circles for people who went through the hurricane and survived, and who are still coping with the mental health challenges that go with that. That's particularly important to me because I'm also a social worker therapist, and I feel like this is definitely needed. When we have climate disasters, people need support. So I'm going to read a few poems. Please donate to Resources for Resilience. I'll be back to say more again. That's resourcesforresilience.com. Thank you to Kelly Shin, who is the organizer of 10 for 10 and has brought people together to find ways creatively to help the people of Western North Carolina rebuild. So I'm going to start off with some poems from my book, that's 48 Hours Down the Shore. And this is before another hurricane. And I wanted to read a couple of poems that were thinking about hurricane season, and I was in New Jersey at the time. Atlantic City's great black-backed gulls, each one like an animal you could spoon or cradle if they wouldn't fly away. They stand facing the wind, lined up away from the ocean. Even people who've never seen the ocean, I think, must know its waves, like a rhythm of earth that water must know even without knowing, just as grass knows sun, like desert cactus knows rain. It's different just beyond the gulls. Shiny baubles and buildings, casinos and their flashing lights, siren sounds, bell-clanging promises, oohs and ahs. Perfume brings back my grandmother. A gasoline smell reminds me of riding on a boat on a Georgia lake. I could never know a casino in my body in the same way as I know how thirst is quenched with water. If there were a hurricane here, like the one headed toward Florida, I would sense it in my muscles, my legs, my head, the heaviness heaving my body into the menace. I know that feeling. I knew it once. Don't think it will ever completely leave me. Shape of storm pushes at all of nature, and I feel it within me, like earth feels it's coming. I learn it at every threat of destruction. So I'm going to read one more from this book, Getting Ahead. Here I am in Jersey, my son and husband in what we call the flaw. Another hurricane's headed there. The news talks about storm surge, about water they haven't seen in 100 years. My guys are leaving in time. I'm going to them. This world we've made is about always moving ahead of the storm. There is a dying in the midst of the living as we witness how we have not stopped extracting all we can, even as the earth and ocean takes us away. So the next poem I wrote in response to Hurricane Helene, really thinking about what had happened and in the aftermath. In the Temple of Helene, I can only imagine the rising water, a sound of surrender, the urge for survival from a coming devour, force behind a river, a storm, mountains, the rain when it gathers and overtakes all there is in the creep of no escape. Out the window, water comes in a known way, unknown this time, twisted into a new force, a new original sin. Houses mowed down by flood, water carrying dumpsters, buses the drowned, water overturning trucks, trailers, a sweeping away Noah wouldn't have survived, and afterward only a few animals to call each other as mud water recedes, leaving streets caked and broken, people without food, left with no water by the water that mangled them into a humility only a few people know yet. People left with no power, but not powerless still. Even through destruction like this, there are people who say there is no crisis, just a storm. But the death toll rises, some still missing, unreached. Humans, deer, dogs, groundhogs, trees, family photos, a kitchen table passed down 3 generations, dishes from grandma. Those on the outside watch without knowing what it is really like to be in a place you love, destroyed. aching, hoping your community will rise, will continue, will build it all back. We'll keep helping each other onward with hope. At the country store, at the town meeting, at the supply station, people count their neighbors, reunite with loved ones, hug anyone they can, drink water, cry about news of the dead, and cry at the fact that they themselves survived and are still alive. I remember the day of the hurricane, and here where I live in North Carolina, it's about 3 and a little more hours away from Asheville, and I remember the storms coming, and we just had no idea what that would do to Western North Carolina and to parts of Tennessee, and and we're deeply concerned at that point. And I've been to Asheville 3 times since that point, twice for groups to help survivors of the hurricane cope emotionally. And the first time I went was to do a poetry workshop with Nicole Brown, who lives in Asheville and had been through the hurricane and was going around doing workshops for people to kind of write through their experience. And so I did one of those workshops with her, and on the way to meet up with her and to be there in Asheville, this was in December, and the hurricane happened. It had happened almost 3 months before. So it had been a little over 2 months at that point. And it was still quite a lot of damage and very intense. Going to Asheville to teach a poetry workshop with Nicole Brown. I'm driving on I-40 in mid-December, coming up on what a storm left. If highways know anything, this same I-40 all the way across the country doesn't know how the highway over here experienced Hurricane Helene. 45 miles away, down trees, 30 miles away, a tree on top of a house, 28 miles away, more trees down, a smashed house, pooled water. I'm driving on I-40 coming up on what a storm left. 24 miles away, a warehouse with each piece of metal siding pried back, a sunken mobile home, mud. 19 miles away, the highway divides are covered in black tarp. It's foggy, rainy. I can't see far around me at all. There are orange barrels, bulldozers, construction. I haven't been here in this destruction. I'm going into it, hoping I can handle it. 16 miles away, there's a sign for a water supply area, 2 new wooden fences, more debris. I'm off I-40 in Swannanoa. Debris lines the streets. A plastic red chair broken, bags of trash, mud, fallen trees, concrete pieces, rocks. I see debris, scattered pieces of waste. A mixture of mud and dead trees, wooden boards, a ripped blue plastic bucket, plastic bags, black flaps of tar paper shingles, broken brown glass, metal pieces, a mattress, a cabinet, a red plastic party cup, crushed clear water bottles, yellow caution tape, an old mailbox, dented. A washing machine upside down, lumber, a log, sticks, a brown bottle, a broken armoire, wet paper. The KOA where we stayed in our camper last summer has piles of debris outside of it. A plastic pipe tunnel. The building is gone. Bathrooms no longer there. The pool missing. Part of the playground is the only thing standing. In Asheville, Moe's is a shell, a failed bomb shelter. Osaka is dynamite tantrum, gutted chaff. Nicole gave me her life straw water bottle. They say the water is fine to drink, but when she bathed in it, she broke out in hives. She has been living this for almost 3 months. She says after the hurricane, the debris mud smelled horrible, not like sewage, not like chemicals. It smelled like death was mixed in, like death. I want to say things are getting back to normal. They are cleaning the sweater of dull mud worn on everything with color, but it's slow, and the stories of the people are all of loss and survival. Yes, I've come up on what a storm left. So it's been now 6 months, maybe a little more, since Hurricane Helene hit, and people are still coping. Things look a little different. They look better. I was there just a few weeks ago. It looks different than it did when I went first in December, but they're still needing support for rebuilding and for mental health services. So again, I'm doing this 10 for 10 reading for Resources for Resilience. That's resourcesforresilience.com. You'll see it in the heading comments. Please give $10 or give what you can. They can use your support, and they support people with mental health and emotional health services. So I'm going to close with one more poem. It's called Hope Like an Egg. Hope is an unknown, hidden in a tight wrapped shell. Wonder, a creature alive inside who will stretch their raw body toward being part of earth life. The single break of casing, a sound of gulp and flight, itch and gather, hunt and moan. Let me be here too. Awe like innocent desire to live, not knowing hawks circle above, rain rivers into flood, soil and tree parched, fuel up for fire. Hope is in ears that miss the cry of see me here in this body of wing and want. I make the sounds of life continuing. Thank you.